Dr. Paul Wagner. I am director of the Project in Professional Ethics at the University of Houston Clear Lake. And actually, we've been affiliated with the APPE since the first year of its beginning and are very proud of that fact. One of the things that we've been most interested in here is the moral development of students and how teachers understand the idea of moral truth. For a long time, teachers have become increasingly timid about addressing anything that seems to suggest that they're making a moralistic claim in favor or opposed to something. Now, this is rather odd in as much teachers do not hesitate to talk about the good of recycling, the bad of climate change and global warming. But as soon as one begins talking about personal moral commitments and attitudes toward one another, they seem to become a bit timid. And as a result, students have a tendency to slide into the idea that morals are all relative, that they are determined wholly by the accident of history, that is to say, the culture you're in. And one of the things that we like to advise them is that culture matters, but it is not all that matters. Rather, a look into anthropology, biology, evolutionary psychology, all have been giving us good, solid reasons for considering why it is that moral direction can be revealed in further understanding of game theory, mathematical game theory that is, and evolution. And it does not require one to worry about sanctimonious moral commands beyond the obvious dictates of the needs of survival. Here's what we mean. Every herd animal, it's been well documented, every herd animal, including humans, has at least two instincts that are relevant to this particular topic. One is we do have an interest in a self-interest, taking care of oneself. Equally, we have an interest in the well-being of others of our kind. Evolution seems to have given to all herd animals, whether it be lions or wildebeest, even bees, the eusocial insects, as well as human beings, an ace in the hole, which is revealed in our ability to cooperate with one another. Think of human beings from the earliest days when, as small 3 or 4 foot primates, we left the jungles and started walking on 2 feet out into the savannah. It could have easily been a very short time before predators dismissed us from the future. But we made it. And it seems that we made it not so much because of our big brain. In fact, as the physicist Mladenow shows, our big brains may have actually been a very expensive spandrel that we had to work hard to survive, having evolved it before there was a need for it. What we did have that helped us to survive was our ability to cooperate, an ability that was shared with all other herd animals. Now, in the case of human beings, as we move into groups of hunters and tribal organizations, and finally into agricultural units and into cities, that progress depended upon moving from the ability to signal, as do many other animals, but human beings developed an increasingly enriched linguistic skill. And the moment of greatest achievement in terms of moral development seems to be in the skill to promise one another. That linguistic invention to promise amplified our ability to cooperate beyond anything humans could have imagined at the time. And so property, which certainly isn't a natural kind term, it's not like rock or rain or things like that, property is a byproduct of the practice of promising. So as a consequence of promising, human beings see themselves as being able to own certain patches of land or goods from a tree and the product of a farm, and we can trade them with others. We can also leave behind property that others of our community will respect as belonging to our descendants. All of that is based upon a network of promising. Advance further and you see that currency, monetary exchange, advance the economies of the world into the nation states that we have today. And all of currency exchange exists only to the extent that the network of promising that sustains it continues to be recognized as obligatory on all who participate in the community of exchange. This is pretty profound because it also tells us that for children, for students to learn how to cooperate within a community as sophisticated and technologically complex as that of modern day humans, they have to learn how seriously promising needs to be taken. This doesn't require someone to simply preach to them about high-minded moral attitudes. It's far more basic than that. It is saying that for human survival, the practice and theory of promising must be honored, must be sustained, and must be understood as more than just a cliche such as, well, you promised, so you owe me. We've got to understand that owing someone is a duty. Duties, obligations, all unfold from the practice of promising. Promising made communities of all sorts possible, again, from villages and small towns and into nation states of today. Elections are respected only to the extent that those who participate in a community honor and respect the practice of promising that led to everyone in the community acknowledging that when an election is held and the rules are followed and somebody is voted into office or a bond is passed, that whether your side or not won, you agree in advance that you will honor your commitment to however the vote turns out. Stock markets, sometimes an investment does well and we walk away with more money than when we put into the stock market. Sometimes things do not work out so well and we lose money. Well, again, remember, money is nothing but a token in a network of promising. And our investments are essentially a token of a token within that network of promising. And so if we lose money on an investment, we take that as not being a rejection of our moral standing or of anyone's commitment to the practice and theory of promising, but rather as a consequence to undertake certain risks within the community and abide by whatever consequences follow from the outcome of taking those risks. That is a promise investors make to one another. Students cannot be expected to learn all there is about promising just by learning from their parents about whether or not someone within the family or not. Obviously, promises are broken at times with their families for reasons that no one can avoid. Financial limitations, bad weather, you can't go on a picnic. The students have to learn there's much more to it than that. Promising is what creates families. Promising keeps families together. Promising keeps every organization that they'll ever be in together, whether it's Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Boys Club, Girls Club, the teams they're on. Promising keeps the community together and empowers it to continue and a successful path that those who make up the community have given their implicit, sometimes explicit, assent to. Teachers need not be timid when it comes to lecturing about the importance of promising in almost every aspect of the curriculum, whether it's in literature and the humanities, whether it's in sciences and talking about the need for promising to sustain the practice of scientists working together as a community to further their discoveries. In times of war, in times of political election, in times of scholarly debate, in all of those cases, promising brings about the sorts of results that, if they did not exist, pandemonium and perhaps the extinction of the species itself would be the end outcome. Given we only had 10 to 12 minutes, that's about all I can say on that. I've written about it, and you can certainly read some of my publications in this regard. But I hope this has been worth your time. Thank you very much.